But now let me ask him a question. Because, no, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question now. You've asked me questions, so now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm asking you a question. You did it. Yes, you did. I have you on camera asking me a question. Now I'm going to ask you a question. You asked me about Jesus Christ rising from the dead and who was in control of the universe. That was your question. It's on camera. You asked me a question. I'm going to ask you a question. So now here's my question. Now here's my question to you. Here's my question. And you can join in as well. You can join in as well, right? Why does Islam discriminate against Christians in the compulsory tax of zakat?
No, we don't.
Yes, you do.
No, we don't.
Can zakat be given to Christians?
Yes.
Lie.
Why not?
That is a lie. Can zakat be given to Christians?
In Islam,
right. They don't know. They said yes. Let me prove that they're lying.
How much you want?
Let me prove that they're lying.
You think in yourself?
I'm going to prove that they're lying, yes. I'm going to prove that they're lying. I'm going to prove that they're lying.
Check it here and you can see.
Right?
Find contradiction there, you don't trust.
No, the Muslims cannot give zakat to Christians.
Yes, and I'm going to show that that is true.
Charity.
No. It's different.
It's not charity, it's a tax. It's not charity, it's a redistributive tax.
So we have to pay tax.
It is a redistributive tax, yes.
No. Now I'm billionaire, okay? I have a billion, okay? And,
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, right, are you guys listening? Because you asked me to find
asked me a
it.
question.
Right, you said that I was lying when I said zakat couldn't be given to Christians. This is from Islam QA. This is a Muslim scholar answering the question about giving zakat to the kafirs. Kafirs, zakat is a redistributive tax taken from rich Muslims and given to poor Muslims. It is not charity, it is a tax. It says, this is the Muslim scholar, it is not permissible.
Scholar's name.
From Islam QA, go and look it up.
No, scholar's
It
name.
is not permissible to give zakat on one's wealth or crops or zakat al-fitra to the unbelievers, even if they are poor,
Okay.
even if they are wayfarers, even if they are debtors. And if one who gives zakat to them, it is not counted as zakat. So Islam has a discriminatory tax against Christians and Jews.
What is kafir?
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
kafir, what is kafir, brother? Kafir. You are mushrik, brother, in Arabic language. You are mushrik.
yes, it's a tax.
Kafir. Kafir is atheist.
Against Christians and Jews.
So if we had a tax that didn't benefit all citizens, would you say that that was discriminatory?
If
Kafir.
rich
Brother,
Christians
kafir is atheist, brother. Don't mix it up and down,
would
huh?
that be an issue with you?
Yes, it would. Because as a Christian, I believe in charity.
Are you a rich Christian?
Are you gonna let me answer your question? Right. You've asked the question, would I as a Christian have a problem with taking tax from rich Christians and only giving it to poor Christians? I'm going to answer that question. Yes, I would have a problem with that. And here is why. As a Christian, I believe, right? As a Christian, I believe that the state should work for the good of all. That every human being, regardless of their religion, is made in the image of God. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish, because you asked the question, right? So you've got to listen to the answer. It's only fair, right? I believe that the state, whether it does or it doesn't, is a different question. But I believe that a good state should work for the benefit of all of its citizens, because I believe that all people are made in the image of God and therefore should be treated with equal dignity under the law. That's what I believe as a Christian. And Islam, if I lived in an Islamic state, I would be treated as a second-class citizen. I have a problem with that because I have a problem with discrimination. Tell me, do you have a...
Egyptian,
So, you said, who said that? You said, who said that?
It's all Muslim.
You said, who said that? You said, who said that? You said, who said that? I will tell you who said that. Islam QA, Israel, get off, don't, keep your hands to yourself. Keep your hands to yourself.
one second.
Keep your hands to yourself.
No, 1 second.
Right?
If you are Muslim,
Stop touching each other.
No,
Yeah.
You as well.
The question
So,
is,
no, 1 second.
Kafir,
One
you are not
second.
kafir in
1
Arab
second.
Muslim.
1 second. You're saying who said that?
Kafir, you are not
Muslim scholars say that.
You are not
That's who say that.
kafir. Brother.
Right? Do you believe in following the Muslim scholars in their
Of
field?
course, but
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Wait.
And they're all cheering.
Yes, I do.
Right?
Brother, just 1 second.
So zakat, according to your Muslim scholars,
But you are not
it is
kafir.
not permissible
It's for
to
kafir.
give zakat
Atheist.
on
Not
one's
believing God.
wealth or
Not for
crops
Christianity.
to
Mushrik.
unbelievers,
You are mushrik.
even if they are
You
poor.
are mushrik, brother.
Even if they are poor.
You are mushrik, brother. You are
Go on,
mushrik.
you ask a
You are
question.
mushrik.
Yeah, go and ask a question.
Kafir.
Let him ask.
Is that from the Quran or the Hadith?
Okay, so the answer to the question is that it will be taken from both.
so the answer is-
Muslim scholars use the Quran and the Hadiths to create fiqh, and their fiqh is what governs Sharia. Is that fair or correct? That is true. That is true.
One second. You have to prove the claim.
I just
Claiming
did.
something. No, you are mentioning a scholar, Muslim scholar.
So you disagree?
Who's that scholar? What's the name?
All right, here's my challenge. Here's my challenge.
What's the name?
Okay, here's my challenge.
Give us the name.
Here's
Give
my
us the
challenge.
words from the Quran and the Hadith.
Here's my challenge. Here's my challenge. If you think I'm lying, bring up the Muslim scholar that says you can give zakat to Christians. Go on, work together. Get out your phones. Google it. Show me the scholar that says it.
Hold on. We are a duty.
Then that's not zakat according to Muslim scholars.
Please,
Why not?
please,
Because you can't give zakat to unbelievers.
please,
Prove us from the Quran or Hadith.
please.
Christian or not,
Look, we want to.
Who's we?
Me and him.
Every person,
Who's every person?
everyone here.
How do you speaking for me?
All right. In that case, you speak as a Christian.
Yes, I'll speak as a Christian. Thank you.
You say, which is not factual,
What? Go on. What?
that it is the word. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Right? The Prophet, peace be upon him, right? I'm a Christian, okay, but that is respect to you. We are all people of the book.
No, we're not.
Yes.
No, we're not.
Yes,
No,
yes,
we're
yes.
not.
What do we
Ask
mean?
the
No, we're not.
What do we mean?
No, we're not.
The people of book.
No, we're not. That's an Islamic term, not a Christian term.
Makes no difference.
Show me people of the book in the Bible.
Please.
No, you're not
No,
talking
you-
authentically
no,
about the
you-
Christian
yes,
faith.
You're not.
You're not talking
Because
authentically.
Jews, Christians.
We're not people of the book.
Please.
That's an Islamic lie.
Ask us.
No, it's not an
Are you the
Islamic
people of
lie.
book?
That is
it's
not
not.
what we believe.
It's not an Islamic
You or
lie.
he?
It is an Islamic lie.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That's your personal view.
And it
Let
is-
me
it
tell
is
you
an Islamic lie.
Let me tell you what the evidence is. The objective facts
To
on
what?
the
To the
face of-
zakat question?
No,
No, you're not. No.
You
The question
the
is
issue.
about
Why are
zakat.
not letting him
Want to
speak?
have a conversation.
Have a conversation
You want-
about zakat.
you
Don't
want
change the
to-
topic.
No, please.
We're talking about
No,
zakat. Yes, we are.
No, we're getting.
No, we're talking
No,
about
let him
zakat.
speak, let him
You're
speak.
We're talking about zakat.
All right,
him
you make
speak.
your point.
Right, well, if you don't want to talk about zakat, I'm going to find someone who wants to talk about zakat. Talk about
You mean-
zakat.
What you mean is.
Yes, it's about zakat.
You mean
Go on.
that you are not practicing, in my view, okay, what the Lord Jesus Christ, who's the second prophet in Islam, okay,
You know Jesus Christ is the Son of God, right?
hold on.
Do you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
I've been brought up the same thing.
Do you believe it?
He's a prophet.
Do you believe Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
Can I finish? You ask monosyllabic, simple questions where you think that there is one absolute.
No Christian would struggle to answer this question.
Right.
Do you believe Jesus
What did I
Christ is
say?
the Son of
What
God?
did I just say?
I didn't hear you answer. I'm
Let me just say
asking
to
you.
you, we were all brought up as Christians to.
Still not answering my
I
question.
just told you that
Do you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
personally,
Yes.
that is my faith.
Right. Do you think a Muslim believes that Jesus Christ is the Son of God?
Of course he does. What does
Right.
that-
So we're not the same faith, are we?
How?
So we're not the same faith, are we? So we're not the same faith, are we?
What you are
Is that the same faith?
What you are doing
Is that the same
what
faith?
you are doing
Is that the same faith?
what you are doing is your belligerence underlies your attitude of intolerance. That's exactly what Jesus taught.
What did Jesus teach?
Jesus
What
taught.
did Jesus teach? He said,
Love your enemy.
He said, what did Jesus teach?
Love your
I have
enemy.
not come to bring, I have come to bring a sword, to turn father against son, against mother, against daughter,
love your
to
enemies,
turn
Paul.
neighbor
Use the sword,
against
kill the
neighbor.
people.
I have come
Well, what did he say?
those-
Love thy neighbour
that
as
those
yourself.
who are not for me
You
are
being
against
selective.
me.
You are being
You
selective.
don't know what
No,
Jesus
you
taught.
don't know.
You
Because
don't know what
you
Jesus
missed
taught.
the spiritual point.
Loving
And
your
you
neighbour
you take things out
is
of
not
context.
about saying everybody believes the same.
Let me tell you where the problems
Here's
arise.
the problem. Here's the problem.
We all share
Your
the Old
politics,
Testament.
your
That's
politics
now,
is
Pete.
guiding
Well,
your
that's
religion.
He's
fanatics.
Your politics is guiding your
How do you know
religion.
what my politics
You
are?
haven't been discipled
No,
by Jesus
what's-
Christ.
what's politics?
You have been discipled
What
by
are
liberal,
politics?
progressive
No,
politics.
I'm not.
That's
No, I'm not.
what's happening
You
here.
have a self-serving.
You are not claiming. You're not claiming. You're trying to change the topic.
No, you are. And
You're
people like
aggravated
you,
because
and
you
assholes
don't
like
understand
you,
the issues.
No,
You lie as a
he is
Christian.
Do you
not-
agree with
he is
apartheid?
being misleading.
Apartheid.
His talk
Apartheid-
is the talk that leads to conflict.
Yes, I have. Do you know what Jesus Christ taught? So how would you be able to, sister, with respect, if you don't know what Jesus Christ taught, how would you know whether or not I've been discipled by him?
Because you believe Christ made like that.
What, sorry?
That's exactly right.
This, right, that is your personal belief, and I accept it, right? But that still doesn't actually address what I just said. Because for me, even though you don't believe it, I believe Jesus Christ is real. You're making the accusation that I have not been discipled by Jesus Christ. For that accusation to be true, you actually have to understand what I believe that Jesus Christ said. Do you see the logic? Right? So my point is, I recognise when you come to Speaker's Corner, it's an intense place, passions get aroused. That's fine, it's very exciting. I got excited when I first came here as well. But my point to you is, sister, is you've got aggravated because you heard a little snippet of something and you don't understand all the issues, okay? You need to go and look at how Christians have suffered under Islamic Sharia law and to understand why I'm... Well, let's go over there and I'll educate you. Yeah, don't. She's a minor. Don't put her on camera. Yeah, she's going to film me. He's not going to film you. I'm guessing that's because you're young, right? And therefore we shouldn't put you on camera, right? So my point to you is that the criticism that I was trying to make that was rudely interrupted is that. Well, I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Is that if you look, because I'm a student of religion, so I've looked into different religions academically at university level, right? And Christians in an Islamic state are led to be second-class citizens, right? And in a whole host of ways. And one of the ways that I was trying to demonstrate that was through this tax called Zakat, right? The thing is, if you create a society in which some Christians end up having less rights than others, you create an apartheid. That's what an apartheid means. So you have examples of apartheid in America and in South Africa where it was a racial apartheid. Black people had less rights than white people. That's what I mean by apartheid. The thing is, under Sharia law, I, as a Christian, become a second-class citizen. Why? One, I can never be a caliph, I can never be the leader of the country. Two, I can never have authority over a Muslim. Three, I am discriminated in the tax system because zakat can only be given to Muslims, it can't be given to me even if I'm poor. Three, I have to pay a jizya tax that means that I am sort of subjugated and humiliated. That's literally what the tax is about, right? Now the thing is, if I, say, started a political party in which I wanted to say things like Muslims couldn't practice their religion fully in this country, right? That They couldn't proselytize. They couldn't convert. They couldn't marry. Christian women couldn't marry Muslim men. Would you say that that was Islamophobic? And you would be right, because that is Islamophobic. But all of those rules that I've just described to you, they all exist in Islam. Now, is it fair then for me as a Christian to be angry about that? Is it fair as me as a Christian to say that that is wrong? What? Sorry?
With money and...
With all of the examples. Like in Islam, even if a Muslim woman wants to marry a Christian man, it's not allowed. Right, is that not... If we say it's Islamophobic, if we did it to Muslims, is it not Christophobic if they do it to us? It's the same. And that's what I'm arguing against. And I don't think I'm wrong for arguing against it.
Hello,
How are we doing, Amir?
I'm great, how are you?
This is Amir, he's a nice person.
I want to ask you something then. If you as a Christian, you cannot become governor or ruler, is that maybe because, would you abide by the Sharia if you were a governor or ruler, or would you put Christian rules in place?
Okay, so the answer to the question is, of course, as a Christian, I would seek to undermine the Sharia. Now, why? Let me finish.
That's why.
But why? Why? Because Sharia law is intrinsically discriminatory. And I believe as a Christian, according to what the Bible teaches, that people should be equal under the law. But Sharia law says that quite literally under the law, you would have more rights than me. Doesn't it say that?
Okay.
Be honest.
Give me examples.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Example number one. In the Sharia law, if I become a Muslim, is that allowed?
Yes.
If you become a Christian,
Yes.
what does Sharia law stipulate for you?
Death.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Right? So if under Sharia law, if I become a Muslim, that's okay. But if he becomes a Christian, he should be executed. Is that fair?
I believe so.
He believes so.
Wait,
Islam teaches discrimination. Wait. No, you wanted You wanted examples. That was example number one.
Let's skip that.
Example number two. Example number two. I'll give
stay on example one,
example. You can come back to it.
Okay.
Example number two. The blood money that's paid, right?
The what?
Blood money, the diya, the blood money, life for life, like that.
Yes,
The teaching.
fidya,
What's it called?
Fidya.
Right. In Islam,
Yes.
if a Christian kills a Muslim, what is the maximum punishment that can happen to that Christian? Death.
Yes.
If a Muslim kills a Christian, can they be executed?
I think so.
No, they can't. Amir, you know me. I've checked
I
it.
said I think so.
Amir, I'm telling you, they can't. No, he's not lying. He's just being genuine. You can be genuinely wrong. Amir, I promise you that under the concept of the life for life, blood for blood, the punishment for the killing of a Muslim by a Christian cannot be met with the death penalty. According to the blood money system, the blood money that is paid for a Christian is half that of a Muslim. Are you aware of that?
Can you repeat that, sir?
So if, say, me and you are run down by someone in the street, right? And our two families in a Sharia court system go to the judge and say, we want blood money.
Yes.
Right? We both demand blood money. The value for my life is half that of yours. Are you aware of that?
I know.
Right, I'm telling you, I'll show it to you when we meet, because me and you are going to meet again. I'll bring you all the evidence. It's true.
Okay.
Now, so that's example number two. Example number three. Example number three. Under the Pact of Umar, right? Under the Pact of Umar, Christians were not allowed to ring their bells. They were not allowed to process in the streets. They were not allowed to display a cross publicly. In Islamic law, do you recognize that these things are not allowed? Like,
yes.
Right. So my point. So, but if someone was to say that Muslims couldn't display their faith publicly, would you say that that was discrimination? Only Muslims couldn't display their faith.
Discriminatory against Muslims.
Yes, exactly. But my point to you is, Amir is telling you that what I've just said is true. That if you go to Saudi Arabia or Iran, which are two countries, or Afghanistan, which are three countries that practice Sharia law, a Christian cross cannot be displayed in public. Christians can't process in the streets, which is what we do in our faith. We can't evangelize, which is what we do in our faith. If we did that to Muslims, you all recognize that that would be discrimination. But Sharia law says that they can discriminate against us. And I'm saying that that is wrong. And I'm saying that we should stand against it, and you're not doing anything wrong for standing against it. So I've given you 3 examples. Now come back.
Remind me of your first example.
So the first example, Amir.
Yes.
Well, I would actually like to talk about Zakat.
Yes, go on.
All right. So Zakat would be another example of this kind of
Let me
discrimination.
go back to the first, because I remember I had something to say.
Okay, talk about killing Christians who've left Islam.
Killing Christians.
Executing Christians
yes,
who've left
would you
Islam.
not believe that maybe because it's the true religion, so a religion may be the true religion, just as a hypothesis, if it's the true religion, that God would make it hard for people to leave it?
Right. So I would say that if someone has decided to leave the religion in their heart,
Yeah.
they have already left.
Yes.
And that there is nothing you can do to stop them. And the point of the point of the apostate execution is a sign of Islam's weakness, because it's saying that we're going to put a gun to your head, that you have to publicly pretend that you're still a Muslim, even though you've already abandoned the deen in your heart.
I mean,
Do you know, Amir, there's loads of Muslims pretending to be Muslims that are atheist
yes,
in
of
the
course.
Islamic world.
Sure, of course.
Now, why are they doing that?
I don't know, because,
They're frightened of punishment.
yeah.
They're frightened of discrimination. But they're literally going to the mosque and being hypocrites. They're going to the mosque and doing the prostrations even though they don't even believe in God. And they're doing it because the discrimination against non-believers in the Islamic world means that they're afraid to say that they don't believe. And it's the same with Christians. We know that there are Christians going to mosque. And they're going to mosque and doing salah in the mosque, and in their heads they're praying to Jesus. And they're doing it because if they come out publicly and say that they've become Christian, they could be killed or discriminated against.
I wouldn't mind discrimination, but
Right, now here's the thing. If this country passed a law that said if you converted to Islam, we'll execute you, would you object to that law?
probably.
Probably. So my point to you is, bro, is that your own heart is telling you that Sharia law is unjust. Because you would be right to object to such a law.
What I would say is that Sharia law would not be the reason to prove that the religion is not true, because if a religion is true, then I believe discriminatory behavior is good as to kind of push people away and stray them away from certain behavior.
Right.
So if it's the true religion, I would say that it's just, but if it's not the true religion, then I would say it's not. But it all depends on the other things. But Sharia law is not the make or break for me. Is that makes sense?
Yeah, so the point is, not only is Islam not the true religion,
Yeah,
but the laws
that's another conversation.
the laws of Islam contradict the human conscience. They contradict the human conscience. Your conscience is given to you by God.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You know that we could dispute about which book to believe in,
Yeah.
but you know that God created you and gave you a conscience.
Yeah.
Right? But your conscience objects to the kind of discriminatory practices that you are trying to defend if they were put against me. And that means that which God has given you is telling you that which the Muslims have given you in your hand, i.e. the Quran and the Hadith, are wrong.
No.
The Christian-
I'm coming back to the same point. All Sharia is like this is the secondary thing for me, because it only proves or disproves something.
Yeah.
Because it all helps prove or it helps disprove, but it doesn't prove or disprove anything.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So let's talk about Zakat.
Okay.
Because I think that Zakat is one of the ways that we can demonstrate the truth of Christianity over Islam. Right? Here's my criticism of Zakat. Criticism number 1. Zakat is a discriminatory tax that discriminates against non-Muslims. Criticism number 2. Zakat limits goodness in the world. It restrains goodness in the world. Criticism number 3. There are better examples of tax, redistributive tax than Zakat. There are superior tax systems to Zakat, right? If Zakat is the best is part of the best religion and deen in the world, then Zakat should be the best tax in the world. And I've given you 3 reasons why Zakat is false. Now I can evidence all of those reasons if you want me to, but I think you know what I'm driving at.
Yeah, I know.
Right, so zakat is a tax. A redistributive, it is a redistributive, it is a tax. No, it's a tax.
It is a tax.
It's a tax. No, it's redistributive tax. Come on, join in the conversation then.
In Islam, there are two types of charities in what we call
Right.
Zakat
Yep.
and Sadaqah.
Yeah.
So the point you were arguing upon that Zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims. Thing is that Sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims, and from the time of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him,
Right.
Zakat was an act that united the Muslim Ummah.
Okay, let me reply to that. I'm going to reply to that by just saying that you're utterly wrong. Let me finish. I listen to you. Firstly, if something is an obligation that is enforced by the state, it isn't charity. Zakat is enforced by an Islamic state, and therefore it is not charity, because if you refuse to give zakat because you don't believe that you should, according to Islamic deen, you're not a Muslim. And an Islamic state will punish someone who does not pay his zakat. So it isn't charity. So that's where you're wrong on number one. You're wrong on number two, because quoting from Islam QA, which is a Salafist website of a Muslim scholar, it states this: it is not permissible to give zakat on one's wealth or crops, or zakat al-fitra to kafirs, that's unbelievers, even if they are poor, or wayfarers, or debtors. And if one gives zakat to them, it is not counted as zakat. So you're wrong in your first statement, and you're wrong in your second statement.
Can I complete now?
Yeah.
I never said that zakat can be given to non-Muslims. I am not saying that, nor is he saying
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
No, that's not what I said.
you check the recording, I am telling you. Zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims. I said that like 2 minutes ago.
So it is a discriminatory tax.
It cannot be given to non-Muslims.
Great,
Sadaqah
so
can be
it's a
given-
discriminatory
Sadaqah can be-
tax.
Sadaqah can be given to non-Muslims.
We're not talking about zakah, we're talking about
That's the
zakat.
thing. It is interconnected. Both the charities.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, it is.
No,
That's the thing.
zakat is a discriminatory tax. That's the criticism.
That's what you are saying. I never
Wait,
said
what's discrimination?
it's not discrimination because
What is discrimination?
can I ask because you can't bring my question.
Yeah, go on.
Absolutely.
Go on.
I told you zakat and sadaqah are two different types of charities, and then if you cannot give zakat to non-Muslims, you can give sadaqah to non-Muslims, and you're totally running away from that fact.
Right, so let me reply to that.
And I want to clear myself. I never said zakat cannot be given to non-Muslims.
Right, so let me reply to that, because he's not listening to the criticism. The criticism is not that Muslims can give sadaqah to non-Muslims. That's not a criticism. I'm not. Wait. You wanted to be listened to, right? That's not the criticism I'm making. The criticism that I'm making is zakat is a discriminatory tax. That's the criticism that I'm making. I'm criticizing zakat for 3 reasons. I'm going to explain. 1, zakat is a discriminatory tax. That's criticism number 1. Criticism number 2 is that zakat is it restricts goodness. It restricts the good that you can do because you can't move it above 2.5%. It's capped at 2.5%, which leads to my third criticism of zakat. And my third criticism of zakat is that there are better tax redistributive systems in the world today that outdo zakat. And if Islam is the perfect religion with a perfect system, how is it we've got better tax systems than the Islamic zakat system? That's my criticism.
So first, on your first criticism, thank you very much. You made your points. So first, how can zakat be discriminatory when it is a burden on Muslims? This is first, because when you talk about discrimination, is in the context of giving rights. Okay, so first, zakat is a burden on Muslims. How can it be discriminatory when it is a burden? This is first. Second, it is capped. Why? It is capped because it is a progressive, let's say, tax. It's a compulsory charity, not tax, but it's a progressive. It means that the wealthiest man pays more. Why? Because if you apply 2.5 on its wealth, it will be more than a less wealthiest person. It is capped to not, for the government of Islamic government to not abuse it and change it and increase it. Why? Because they are failing their expenditure policies. So it is capped and regulated to protect Muslims who are paying. Thirdly, I join you when you say there is other symmetric systems where it is highly recommended that you implement it instead of zakat. Is that right? That's what you said, yeah? Yeah.
Go on,
Okay, so yeah, I just finished the third point. So Islam in general, of course, impose zakat on Muslims. However, it does also can back that with taxes for other expenditures like the army, hospitals, roads, etc., with minor taxes.
Can I reply now?
I didn't finish. So the taxes, the tax system with the zakat is not completely forbidden in Islam. We can use it. However, the zakat, which is compulsory charity, is you need to give it to certain types.
Okay, so allow me to reply, bro.
They are protected. Okay? So I reply to your first, second, and third.
Okay,
criticism.
so let me reply.
Pause, please.
You ready?
Action.
So the reason why it is a discriminatory tax is we've got to recognise what a discriminatory tax is. If a tax is only applied to one people for the benefit of one people, then it is discriminatory if the benefit is not to all of its citizens.
Yes.
Now, and this is what we see in zakat. It is taken from rich Muslims and only given to poor Muslims.
No.
And no, don't interrupt.
No.
Right, from this point forward,
No, give it
I am
facts.
going to interrupt you whenever I want. If you interrupt me again,
Okay.
if you interrupt me again, I will interrupt you
set the
whenever I
rules.
want.
Okay.
So, it is a discriminatory tax
In
because
Islam-
it cannot be given. It cannot be given to. It cannot be given, and I'm now going to interrupt you whenever I want. It cannot be given to Christians or Jews, so it is discriminatory.
Wrong.
And the argument was that we can have other taxes that create other public kind of institutions that benefit everybody. But if you create roads from other taxes and hospitals from other taxes, then the Muslims also benefit. So that means they have a double benefit. They receive from the general tax and they receive from the special tax. And there is no equivalent obligated in Islamic law for the Christians. There is no equivalent tax that's taken from rich Christians and distributed to poor Christians. It doesn't exist, and therefore that is discrimination. Secondly, the criticism that it caps the good. The maximum, and the brother tried to do a bit of taqiyya here. He tried to do a bit of a lie here. He tried to say it was obligatory charity. Obligatory charity is not charity. If it's obligatory, it's a tax. If it's enforced by the state, it's a tax. Tax is a free offering, a free donation that you do from your heart. That's what the scriptures say, and we'll come on to the Christian equivalent. The third defense of my argument is that there are better systems of tax than zakat. Example, the British system of tax. We give over 20% of our national budget in redistributive taxes, ladies and gentlemen. Over 20%. And then when we include the NHS, together with the welfare state, over 50% of our tax burden is redistributive in nature to help the poor. Zakat limits it at 2.5%. The problem with that is, as you can see across the Islamic world, is poverty is everywhere across the Islamic world. Some of the richest people in the world are Muslims, these emirs. And the maximum that they can give is 2.5%.
speak.
Would you like to do it timed? Because I'm going to
Yeah,
interrupt
because
you.
you're a bit-
Yeah, we're going to do it timed, but don't complain when I interrupt you because you interrupted me.
No, I'm listening to you
Right.
respectfully. I didn't interrupt.
Yes, you did, and you're
Twice.
interrupting me right now.
Twice.
Still, you're
Because
interrupting right
You
now.
need to be fair. We need
Well,
to.
let's
we
do
need
it
to have
time.
yeah?
So can we get a timer? We're going to do 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Do you want to time it, Amir? I trust
you
Amir.
need to count how much he spoke. Okay.
No, we're going to do
don't know
3
how much
minutes,
he
3
spoke.
minutes from here.
You already.
Well,
spoke
brother,
more than 3 minutes.
you jumped
Yes.
into my conversation.
No, you accepted me.
Yes.
Okay, so you need to be
So
fair.
let's do 3 minutes,
So
3
you need
minutes.
to be fair.
So
you
we'll
spoke
start
more
3
than
minutes. We're doing 3 minutes,
No.
3 minutes.
So if you start again,
Bro,
I will speak
brother,
6 minutes because
brother,
you
no,
took 3
no,
minutes before.
no,
And this gentleman
no,
man, he's laughing because
no.
he knows that
You
this
can, he
is
can
fair.
laugh. He can laugh.
want to-
No, brother. Right. Let's be clear. You wanted to join this conversation that I was having with this brother. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's obviously lost his ability to conduct himself. He's interrupting right now. He's interrupting.
Do you want to get 1 minute
Right.
to wrap it up, and then he gets 4 minutes, and then you can get
Okay,
back?
And then
give him
4
1
minutes,
minute,
4
give
minutes.
him 1 minute,
No.
and give me 6 minutes
Right,
because he spoke.
right. No, sorry. I'm not agreeing to 6 minutes.
4 minutes, 4 minutes.
You're getting 4
4
minutes.
and then
You're
back
getting
to
4 minutes. So I'll finish off in
I'm
1
getting
minute.
5 minutes.
You're not getting
and he
5.
is
He's
1.
getting 4.
No. You are,
4.
No.
Okay, go away, brother. Go away. Bro, I'm not interested in
This
talking
is
to you
not
anymore.
your land.
So,
Okay,
it
this
is my
is-
land
it's
actually.
not your land.
This is my land actually.
No,
this is my
the
land.
public
This
land.
is yes, it's the public land, and I'm
It's
part of the
not
public.
yours.
It's not yours
It's
either.
not yours,
So,
okay? You
so
are not
ladies
the
and gentlemen,
ownership, okay?
so ladies and gentlemen, right? Because he can't conduct himself properly, he can't complain when I interrupt him, and I will interrupt him going
He's
forward.
been tyrannical.
Right? So, I'm going to finish. I'm going to land now.
Please finish.
So my 3 criticisms remain standing. Zakat is a discriminatory tax. Zakat does limit the goodness that Muslims can do, and there are better tax systems than Zakat in the world. In other words, Zakat as a tax system is outdone by other systems of tax. And if Zakat was part of a perfect system, it should be a perfect tax system. But we see, for very good reasons, 3 so far, that it is something that should be rejected by noble souls, and it should be rejected, thank you, it should be rejected by noble souls, and it should be rejected by pragmatic souls, and it should be rejected by sensible souls. So that's how I'm going to land. So 4 minutes.
Okay, so this gentleman says that first criticism, Islam does not give zakat to non-Muslim, poor non-Muslim people. Umar ibn al-Khattab, the second caliph, go to history, he gave a Jewish blind old man from the budget, from the zakat, money to sustain his life to his death. This is first thing, okay? Umar ibn
So that's
al-Khattab
not zakat?
gave zakat to this, the money, okay, collected in the house of budget is from the zakat as well. Okay, so he gave this Jewish man, blind old man, okay, allowances until he dead, he dead. So first thing, this is your claim that zakat is not give it to non-Muslims. You cannot sustain this. Second, what did you say? Secondly.
It's your 4 minutes.
All right. So, secondly, he said that Islam zakat is a tax. Okay, I'm a law graduate. One of the courses is UK taxes. It is a tax because it goes and be expended to roads,
So it
to
is a tax.
airport, to NHS, to everything. Zakat, you can't spend it to these things. You can only spend it to poor people, to people who are working.
That's just
with
called
these
budgeting.
Poor, okay, so
That's
is
just
a
called budgeting.
charity. It is to level up poor people.
the same with British government.
However, Islam does not prohibit a backup system of taxes to make expenditure to build roads, to back up the NHS.
It's the same with the
etc.
British government's tax
So-
system.
So you need to first read the history.
Welfare can't
and
be given
second-
to anything else.
And secondly, you are interrupting.
Oh wait, sorry, is that a problem now?
Secondly,
Is suddenly that a problem?
Secondly,
Suddenly that a problem?
your
Weird that,
analogy-
isn't it?
Your analogy
interrupt.
is not backed.
He didn't let me speak.
I'm finished.
Right, it's finished. Okay, so 4 minutes.
3 minutes.
Oh, no, 4 minutes, 4 minutes. We agreed. That's what you said. 4 minutes, 4
I said
minutes.
4 minutes because you spoke too much, and then I gave.
And
him
then
an extra
3 minutes, 3 minutes.
No,
Fair enough. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let me give another criticism of Zakat.
Alright.
So another criticism of Zakat. Bear with me 1 second while I find it. 1 second. Where is it? Where is it? So here's another criticism of Zakat.
Okay.
It has failed the Muslim heart. It has failed the Muslim heart.
Why?
A study done by a charity, research conducted by the National Zakat Foundation. So this is research done by a Muslim Zakat Foundation,
Alright.
finds that only 66% of Muslims actually give Zakat.
How many?
Only 66% of Muslims.
66.
By contrast, brothers and sisters, we Christians who have no obligatory tax like the Muslims do in Zakat,
Okay.
has been found in research to give. Let me just find it for you.
check.
Let me just show you.
Show us.
Right, let me just, that 87% of Christians regularly donate to charity. 87% of Christians. So without any obligation in our faith, Christians, on average, 87% of them are giving to charity, and even with an obligatory tax called Zakat, only 66% of Muslims. Here's the amazing thing. Here's the amazing thing. The studies of American Christians and their giving in America show that the average Christian in America gives, guess what? 2.5% of their income to charity without it ever being an obligation.
2.5.
So we have already met the obligation. They're good Christians, and the Muslims could do better. They could do better because their obligational tax has failed to change their heart. Because their teaching has not changed them. How am I doing for time?
1 minute left.
1 minute left. The reality is, brothers and sisters,
Reality.
that Christ's and the apostles' teachings about giving to charity, that I'll talk about in my next 3 minutes, has served the Christian heart better than Islam's obligatory zakat. And it is a tax, ladies and gentlemen. Why is it a tax?
Why?
Because it is enforced by the state. If a Muslim in an Islamic state does not pay the zakat,
happens?
there are punishments connected to that. But if they do not give sadaqah, which is charity, there is no punishment from the Islamic State. So that's the difference. If the state enforces it in the law with punishments, it's a tax. And he said, oh, look, you know, this zakat can only be given to a certain cause. Well, so what? The government only uses 20% of my tax redistributively, and that money can't be given to defense. So it's the same. It's still a tax.
So this gentleman was saying that the West is collecting the taxes from the Westerners to wage wars in the Middle East. And to what he's saying is to give the military the equipment to wage wars, to kill people. So my friend, you need to understand that the taxes of the Westerners, a large sum of that is implemented to wage wars in the Middle East and not go into charities as you presume. Muslims, on the other hand, they are the only persons, okay, who give the charity compulsory to the poor people, okay, with the certainty that all people benefit from that, okay? And I don't know where did you come up with your distorted statistics, because obviously they are biased. I don't trust you, to be honest. Okay, so I will reject that. Yeah, you can laugh, it's no problem. Yeah. So your biased statistics are not, they are not impressing the crowd here, okay? They are smarter than you and these statistics. Okay, so I don't have more arguments to say, because to be honest...
And how about they're correct?
Yeah.
And how about if they're correct?
Wait, bro, don't give him an opportunity to back out.
Even
This
if
is still his
they're
time.
correct, it's with us. These statistics really enforce our claims because it's 66% we give.
No, it's not. You still got how long?
Yeah.
Minute
So
and a half.
66% we give, it's beneficial. Alright?
Alright.
Are you done?
I'm
Okay, 3 minutes for me, please. So he said to me, where am I getting my information from? I'll tell you where I'm getting my information from. With regards to the fact that only 66% of Muslims pay their zakat, I'm getting that from the National Zakat Foundation. Does that sound like a Muslim, a Christian organisation? Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Don't interrupt. Where did I get it from? Where did I get it from that Muslims can't give their zakat to non-Muslims? I got it from Islam QA, and it says it is not permissible to give zakat on one's wealth or crops to kafirs, to non-believers. So I quoted two Muslim sources, and the Muslims triggered because they're losing the argument. He's triggered because they're losing the argument. Now, ladies and gentlemen, he's triggered. Stop interrupting. Stop interrupting, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look at why do Christians do better in terms of their charitable giving than Muslims? Why? And he didn't address the point, notice, ladies and gentlemen, when I showed that sadaqah is not punished if you don't give it under Sharia law. But zakah, if you don't give it as a Muslim under Sharia law, would be punished. And that's why it's not a charity. Don't believe in the taqiyya. That was taqiyya. But why do Christians do better? How am I doing for time? Why do Christians do better? Because of teachings like this. Do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God. Whoever is generous to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will repay him that for his good deeds. That's Proverbs 19:17, and the previous one was Hebrews 13:16. Notice it doesn't say only to Jews. It doesn't say only to Christians. It says those who are poor. When Christ defined who is your neighbor, he said that your neighbor was the Samaritan who looked after the Jew.
Right.
And those were different religions in those times.
Right.
It says in 2 Corinthians 9:7, each one must give as he has decided in his own heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion. Notice the difference, Muslims. For God loves a cheerful giver. And it's these kinds of teachings that have inspired more Christians to give more charity than Muslims give in zakat, even though for them it's an obligation. How am I doing for time?
Okay, I have a question. From which nation these statistics are? You said national zakat. Which nation?
The UK.
The UK. So you bring statistics, okay?
From a Muslim charity.
Of a Muslim single charity.
Yes. So bring better statistics. No. Oh, don't interrupt suddenly. Don't interrupt suddenly.
Yeah, so
but you did
charity,
interrupt me though.
So you give statistics of one charity.
Well, give me others.
In the UK.
Give me others.
Collect zakat from the Muslims.
Give me others.
And you say you portray this that 2 billion people of Muslims, just 66% give zakat.
No, I said in the UK.
No, this one single charity in the UK that collects zakat,
yes,
and says that 66% give, and he's proud of this. He done his research.
Well, it's more than you.
Okay, so the crowd now know that you cannot be trusted because it's not enough.
Apparently, you are all convinced by his argument. They're laughing at you. They're literally laughing at you. So let me quote the Charity Times, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm done with you here, all right?
The Charity Times is not a Christian organisation. He's running away. Of course he's running away. Of course he's running away. He's running away. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you. The Charity Times, bring your cameras back. Bring the cameras back. So, guys, oh, he's triggered. He's triggered because he lost the debate. He's triggered because he lost the debate. All right, so let's be clear.
He's just shouting.
Let's be clear.
Right, you will have
The charity times, go pay your zakat, then come back. So the charity times is one of the 66%, good for him, right? The Charity Times is a secular newspaper. It is not a Christian newspaper. And listen what the Charity Times says. The survey produced by the marketing agency TMH revealed 87% of Christians regularly donate to charity, which is considerably higher than the rest of the UK, of which only 61% of non-Christians donate to charity. So Christians don't just outstrip Muslims when it comes to giving charity. Christians outstrip everybody when it comes to giving to charity. And why do we do it? Why do we do it? I'll show you why. Let me show you. It's because we are inspired by the teachings that we find in Scripture. This is in Matthew 6, verse 2. Thus when you give to the needy, thus when they give to the needy, thus when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you as the hypocrites do. Because don't the Muslims make a song and dance of their zakat?
And they pray in the corners.
Don't they pray on the corners so everyone can see? It goes on, no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. The meaning of that is that as Christians, we must work. We are motivated by that internal desire to please God. We're not forced to do it by the state. We're not forced to do it by fear. We do it because we are inspired by God. No one's interested.
No one's interested in you.
It says in Proverbs 21:13, whoever closes his ear to the cry of the poor will himself call out and not be answered. So the point of Christian spirituality is that when we see the poor, we should understand that we should stand in solidarity with them and support them. That's what scriptures say. It says this. It says this. This is in Isaiah 58:10. If you pour yourself out for the hungry and satisfy the desire of the afflicted, then shall your light rise in the darkness and your gloom be as the noonday. It says there is joy in giving to the poor, joy in giving to the needy. And that is the point, ladies and gentlemen. We are inspired by these teachings, and Christians do better than the Muslims do in their zakat.
Correct.
The Muslim could not defend his religion from criticism.
Nothing.
All he ended up doing was interrupting and then using ad hominem attacks and then running away. And why? Because it can't be defended.